Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 10 of the Simply Walden podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, or TV shows, we've got the show for you. And this week, our show is actually about the first major Marvel property since we started the show, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Last week, we said that we were going to do like a long episode to cover both Moon Knight and Doctor Strange, but because my lazy ass did not want to edit a long episode in one go, we're going to post like a separate mini episode later this week, maybe.
10.5?
That's just going to be our Moon Knight discussion. What'd you say?
I said 10.5?
Oh, yeah, episode 10 and a half. Yeah, I would say probably like, Friday or Saturday, maybe look for that to be posted. And it'll probably be a little bit unedited, so you might expect more ums and hums and Chris speaking like William Shatner acts. Just a little insight. Chris isn't always as snappy as he sounds. A lot of times he talks like something on the plane.
I don't know what you mean.
You'll be like forming your thought as you speak, so you'll be like, and I guess I really liked the thing where they did, and then I'm like, all right, well, let me cut all that dead air out.
He's
and
put
so
the
then
Jeopardy
it comes
music in the background.
yeah. And so then it just turns into, I think I really liked when, and I'm like, yeah, there we go.
There, that sounds better.
Saved it. That's it right there. But no, all of that to say, yeah, I don't plan on doing a major edit on the Moon Knight discussion, so it'll probably be a little bit rougher, but we'll have it out.
It's gonna be raw.
It's gonna be raw and uncut. Before we get into the Multiverse of Madness, we do have to talk about
Just like me.
Oh, raw and uncut.
Ew.
Ew. That's disgusting. Get it together.
We almost got this thing off.
Yeah. All right, before we jump into Multiverse of Madness, we do have to talk about an array of small gaming stories to breeze through. And by an array, I mean two. Guardians of the Galaxy finished filming. We've got a new set photo from Thor Love and Thunder, as well as a little interview with Taika Waititi, the director. And Ahsoka has started production.
Oh, fuck.
Speaking of, we got a new trailer for Kenobi that dropped on May 4th.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we
did. And then, while we're on trailers, just in front of Doctor Strange, we got to see the teaser trailer for Avatar, The Way of Water.
Oh, which was hot.
So if you're ready, we'll just jump into it.
Yeah, dude, let's... I'm already in it.
Yeah, so I'm just going to start right off the bat with some good for you. So the day before developers, right, have announced that it is switching over to the Unreal Engine 5, which they had said that they had this to say about that whole transition. They said that the transition to a more advanced and adapted open worlds engine will make the gameplay of the day before even more fantastic for our player base. And the game is currently the most wishlisted game on Steam. And what's that release date?
It is the 21st of June, if I'm correct.
Yeah, my God, you've got it locked away like you're a lockbox. However, you're incorrect because it's been delayed until March 1st of 2023 due to the engine switch.
This is horse shit.
Yeah, no, like next year. Like basically like almost a whole year.
No. Oh.
I'm really surprised that this wasn't on your radar.
No, I just damn. I was gonna get that for like an early birthday present. Oh, come on,
man. Well, no, you're not. So
way to ruin my day.
Yeah, well, but I do have a little up for you, and this is a legitimate up. N-Night Games, who are the developers behind The Forest, they announced that the Sons of the Forest Steam page is officially live, and it's able to be wishlisted, with pre-orders expected to go live towards the end of the summer. And they're not backing down from their new release date, because originally it was set to come out in March, this month, but back in March they were like, yeah, we just don't think it's where we want it to be, and we don't want to rush it and get stuck in the early release schedule like they did with The Forest, where it was in early access for quite a while. And so they pushed it back until October of 2022, and they seem pretty confident in keeping that schedule, which is why they went ahead and posted the page live on Steam.
Which, yeah, if it's stuff like that, like, it does suck, but I am okay with it, because I'm glad that they're, taking the moment. I feel like we talked about this, taking the moment to be like, it's not ready.
Right. And, we both really enjoyed The Forest.
Yeah, very much.
And the Sons of the Forest, from the little bit that we've seen and heard about, it seems like they're
really
getting
good.
Yeah, it looks like they're being pretty ambitious as far as like how construction's going to go and some of the gameplay mechanics and things like that, and just the environment and the graphics. It looks really solid.
The snow.
So yeah, I think
good.
the more time they spend on it, obviously, the better. If it's going to be kind of an ambitious game,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So James Gunn, as well as several of the cast and crew members, took to social media this week just to commemorate the wrapping of filming on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And they all made it sound like this might be the last Guardians project, at least for the foreseeable future, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of them were like saying goodbye to characters and things like that, or the property itself. But the project isn't done. It's not like a wrap on production. It's just on filming. It's supposed to go through the whole editing process and the post-production, all that, before it gets released on May 5th of next year.
What if they all die?
Right.
Like, that's just how it ends.
Yeah, like he doesn't get Gamora back or nothing. They're all done. Well, what are you going to do? Them's the breaks,
Yep. Say lovey.
So, while we're on Marvel, we got a new look at Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth as their, like, respective Thors. And, obviously this is, like I teased you last week, this is not a visual medium, so we're not going to get too hung up on the picture. But have you seen it?
Hey, I have.
Like, I really enjoy the new costume on Thor with, like, the blue and gold in it.
Oh, yeah.
It looks solid. And Natalie Portman, still, like we said a couple weeks ago, she is jacked. Like, that lady is swole.
Yeah, she's yoked.
Yeah, like, whoa. More like Natalie Swolman, She's been getting gains. But yeah. it was an Empire magazine exclusive. Those photos were, and so with it there was an interview with Taika Waititi, and he said you don't want Natalie coming back and playing that same character who's walking around with science equipment, while Thor's flying around, she's left on Earth tapping her foot, going, "When's he gonna be back?" That's boring, and you want her to be a part of the adventure.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and that was one of her complaints. Why she didn't want to be in more of the MCU was because her character did kind of get designated as just the hurry up and wait on my man, right?
Yeah.
And so, now we've got this. And he did go on to say that she's going to get to show off some of her comedic chops, where he said that Natalie's really funny in real life. She's kind of goofy, and she's got a lot of great sense of humor. And I don't think that was exploited at all enough in the first films.
No.
And knowing Taika Waititi, I mean, he is a comedic director. You figure Thor Ragnarok had a pretty heavy comedic tone to it.
It was really good, too.
Yeah, exactly. It managed to be both. Are you yawning in the podcast again?
Dude, I don't know what it is. It's just I get in here, I get comfortable, I have the candle lit. AC's blowing on my back. I got my LED turned to a light blue. I'm leaning back in my chair. I'm just comfy, man. We're doing.
And you've got my warm honey voice just slapping at your ears.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it, baby. I could do like a late night jazz radio. Hey, welcome back, all you cool cats and kittens.
Yeah, we're just hanging out and relaxing.
No, but my favorite quote from him in this whole thing was that he said that, talking about them being apart for so long and then getting back together, and he said that, she'd gone off and had her own life for 8 years or whatever, and now that they're getting back together, and she's like his doppelganger, and he said that it's going to be a real mind fuck for Thor. That was his quote. And it's like, yeah, Thor's going to be like, what the fuck, And so I'm excited to see that. And he didn't talk at all about Gore the God Butcher other than saying that he thinks that they have the best villain that the MCU has seen so far out of Gore the God Butcher.
Shit.
Which, on the one hand, I'm like, oh, fuck, I hope so. But on the other hand, it is his movie. He might be a little biased. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
feel like they all might say that.
Thanos was really good, as well as Ultron. Really good character development. Thanos?
Thanos? You say Thanos?
I said Thanos.
Oh, word?
But Thanos isn't bad.
No, that was the name of the theory,
Yeah, with
Ant-Man's just squirreling up there and blowing himself big up and just pop. But no, so yeah, I'm pretty jacked. That'll be here before we know it. What is it? It's July something, right?
Right around my birthday, isn't it?
I believe so. So that'll be exciting to get another one. And then I don't remember what we get this fall as far as
Bofa.
Marvel goes. Yeah, that's your favorite fucking joke, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I hit you real hard with it.
Yeah, all the time. The the official Star Wars Twitter posted a photo of a set chair to announce the start of filming on the Ahsoka series for Disney Plus. Like, there's no release date, no details or anything. They just took a picture of the back of the chair that says Ahsoka with like the official title, and that was that. And they said it started production.
Fine with me. That's fine with
and I'm
me.
like, all right, cool. And I'm really hoping that we'll see like some live action overlap from some of the characters from like Rebels and
Clone Wars.
Yeah, and Clone Wars, where we might see. Yeah, because I think it would be nice to get some flashbacks to the Clone Wars. Hopefully we get some of that in Kenobi as well, right, where we get to see a little bit of flashback to live action Clone Wars.
I really want to see a lot more of Plo Koon.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite Jedi. He's fucking dope. Super wise. Like, he's very strategic.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's dead, right?
Yeah, he died in
he died straight up during the massacre, yeah. So you won't see a whole lot of him, but maybe get some flashback to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm wanting, is some flashback.
Or they bring him back from the dead.
Yes.
Just zombie Plo Koon. He's like,
well, I showed you that video I saw maybe a month or two ago.
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. It's because it was good too. It was like that zombie.
Yeah, the idea of just a zombie outbreak on a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, that was dope as hell.
And while we're on Star Wars, we got to talk about it. We tweeted about it. We fucking Instagram storied it. Whatever. Facebooked it.
The whole 9 yards.
All of them.
The whole hog.
The whole hog. The big three. Speaking of the whole hog, now. No, the new trailer for Kenobi dropped on May the 4th.
Yeah, which was hot. Hot.
It had me feeling hot. We saw quite a bit more of the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
We got to see, including that underwater prison from Fallen Order.
Yes.
So that excites me that, we're kind of really rubbing elbows. You figure we got a BD unit during Book of Boba Fett. And now we're like straight up. I don't know, but Ewan McGregor was giving Ewan, whatever you want to call him. He was giving like an interview. I didn't mark down what publication he was talking with, but he was commending Deborah Chow, who's the showrunner, on her like faithfulness to other properties or other types of properties. So like video games and comics and things like that. And like he talked heavily about her getting hung up on making sure that if it's something is true in a video game, it also has to be true here if they're meant to be in the same universe.
Correct.
So the fact that he and her must have had conversations about that, or that he knows that and is well aware of that, makes me feel like maybe Fallen Order is going to come up in some fashion.
Which would be so cool.
Yeah.
Because
like we talked about,
the game, the guy who plays Cal, looks just like him. Like they were
because they used his mocap and his likeness.
Yeah. Which I like. I admire that.
I know. I'm excited for. I think Star Wars is at its best right now as TV.
Yes.
We're not getting Book of Boba Fett was kind of mid, right?
Yeah.
But all in all, we're getting good stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for more of The Mandalorian.
Kenobi. I don't know. I don't think for me. I don't think anything can top the Christmas special.
Shut the fuck up.
That was gas.
You've never even seen the Christmas special.
No, I haven't, but I know it's dog shit.
No, but you can imagine what it would be like if me and her got it on.
Is everyone sitting? Good, great, grand. No yelling on the bus.
He's just red in the face. No, so we did sort of get a little. Is one hot piece of ace. we did sort of get a peek at Vader. Just barely. They were just showing pieces of his suit coming on, and then they hit us with just that, and I was like,
sensitive.
Yeah, I was, yeah, please. I was laying in bed, just, oh man, I was. What do you say? I was laying in a puddle of Elmer's glue.
Yeah.
I was just, oh no.
Shit.
But no, honestly, I think Star Wars is at its best right now as TV. I don't think they need to worry about making movies. They could build if Disney truly wanted to go, let's do the MCU, but Star Wars, which I don't necessarily know is the business strategy, right? Because it's a whole different beast. But if they were going to try and do that, having TV shows that have characters that may pop in and out of each other is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Where, I really enjoy The Mandalorian. And luckily for me, 3 of the 7 or however many episodes of Book of Boba Fett were The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
But obviously that's not good for Boba, because, like, half of his show wasn't even about him.
Right.
But you still get the opportunity to see those characters, and maybe they can give him more down the line to do, and just give him an honest shake. But like with Ahsoka, maybe we'll get to see, oh my god, I just completely lost his name, Admiral Thrawn.
Yes, yeah, we knew.
Because she name drops him in The Mandalorian season 2, that she's looking for him. Right. So it's like, I wonder if that's what the crux of her series will be, is that she's pursuing Grand Admiral Thrawn. That'd be pretty dope. Like, because we've only seen him in the animation, and it's kind of odd to me to think, like, okay, so it was this novel series in, like, the 90s, I think, and then it got turned into another series of novels that are, like, official canon, where Disney was like, and they got the author of the original trilogy to come in and rewrite them for, like, to fit Disney's canon.
Okay.
And then he was in Rebels, and now we're going to see him potentially in live action. Yeah. I just think it is a big wet dream for, like, hardcore Star Wars fans who, like, I cannot think of his name. I just completely lost it. The gentleman that is leading Star Wars television right now.
Pedro Pascal?
No, not the actor, the creators. He worked on Clone Wars and The Mandalorian and fucking
Bofa.
Dude, like, you're
Bofa,
gonna
he's
make
nuts.
me lose my cool. I'm about to lose it. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Oh, let me look this shit up. I just fucking hang up. You know what? Fuck this.
Fuck, whatever.
Fuck this shit. I'm out of here.
No, Jimmy, pull that up, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm on it, baby. Clone Wars creator. Let's see here. Come on, you got it. Google's really having to think on it. No, not George Lucas. Get this shit out of here. Dave Filoni. I knew that shit like the back of my hand.
That's literally what I just said.
Didn't even have to look it up. My computer's trying to do a fucking virus scan. Get that shit out of here. What are you doing?
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Kick rocks! So,
come on, what am I looking at? Get that away from me. Open your eyes! I love that meme right now.
I do too. But no, Dave Filoni is someone who just fucking loves Star Wars. And, like, just wholeheartedly, he's a Star Wars fan first, who now has pretty heavy creative control over what Star Wars is. And it seems to be going well. But I think, between him and Jon Favreau, they're going to do something good with it. And they're going to kind of get the brand back on track, because the sequel trilogy kind of was a misstep, I think.
Yeah.
As far as, like, really kind of making the Star Wars taste bad in your mouth,
Yeah, for sure.
And now you've got something like The Mandalorian and hopefully Ahsoka to be like, oh, you know what? And Kenobi. You're like, you know what? Star Wars, actually, I'm down. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind the sequels if I'm just trying to, like, watch something that has, like, Star Wars in it.
Right, yeah, get, like...
if that makes sense.
A Star Wars vibe.
Right, yeah. But yeah, I'm not watching them like how I watch, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, dude. Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I burned up the VHS of that shit at my house.
Oh, yeah.
As a fucking preschooler, and I used to do, like, afternoon kindergarten, so I had the morning to myself with my dad.
Yeah.
And I'd just sit in the fucking kitchen and put The Empire Strikes Back in and just watch that shit like a little fucking creep. Yeah. I was way too into Luke getting his fucking hand chopped off. I was like, whoa, like, this is cinema right now. Like,
I was really big into the when he got
Slave
attacked
Leia?
by the no. When he got attacked by the Yeti.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that one just
that was
sleeping
your
in
shit.
the tauntaun. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, that's survival.
Hey. Do you know what the temperature is inside of a tauntaun?
69.
Lukewarm.
Thank you so much for listening to the Simply One podcast. This will be my last episode as co-host.
No, hold on. Before you leave, why don't you tell us about Avatar: The Way of the Water trailer?
Oh my god.
Tell us what you saw. Tell us how it made you feel, since you are a little too jacked about Avatar right now.
Yeah. So, there wasn't a whole lot of words, which was fine, because I don't think it necessarily needed any.
Yeah, it did need more shit blowing up. No.
Yeah. But, no, yeah, you see, obviously, everyone running, and then it looks like... obviously everyone's running on the trees, riding those
Right? Yeah.
those alien. They're basically like their planes. What is it? I can't remember the word from. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you
But
the helicopter things?
no.
Or the birds?
The birds.
Yeah. All right. There you go.
Riding the
They're like
birds.
kind of like pterodactyls.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Pterodactyl.
Yeah, it was right on the tip of your tongue.
But it was. It looked like obviously the tree got cut down in the last one. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, for a movie from 2009, that is the highest grossing film of all time.
But it looks like in this one they're kind of camped up on a beach, and then a lot of it's underwater.
Yeah, hence the name.
Yeah. And so I'm very excited to see everything there, and I'm just hoping it's a really vibrant and pretty movie. But I have no doubts in that.
Like from a visual standpoint, I mean, it was very good, right? But I wasn't like, holy fuck, you know what I mean? It didn't blow my mind.
Okay.
I wasn't sitting there like, I can't believe that shit's happening in front of my eye. It wasn't like fucking movie magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, was it the first thing they showed in theater was like the video of the train coming towards the camera, and everybody freaked out thinking the train was going to come through the screen at them.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, wow, there's blue people. I was just like, all right, it looks like more Avatar, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that, to me, I didn't think there was a 10-year jump that made me go, holy fuck, this is what we've been waiting 10 years for.
Yeah.
But also, I'm biased because I wasn't an Avatar stan. You know what I mean?
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw it, I was just a little kid,
There's blue people.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, what is this?
Maybe there's something there. I was 13 and you were 9. You know what I mean? So maybe there's something there that 9-year-old you was a little bit more, you were less jaded, less cynical. The world hadn't beat you down.
Whoa, easy.
I was 13. I was paying taxes. I'd already been evicted once.
You got 2 felons on you?
Yeah, I had a felony. I no longer had the right to vote, and I hadn't even voted once. At 13, I lost.
Not being able to vote.
I just never voted. I got in bad, and I had a couple of manslaughter charges.
Jesus
I like the idea of me just being 13 with a teardrop tattoo and 9 o'clock shadow. Just watching Avatar with my cousin.
You're just wearing a wife beater, picking at your grill.
I'm grizzled. I've got a fucking a put out cigarette tucked behind my ear, so that when I leave the theater, I can relight it and finish what I was smoking. Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, good player role.
Yeah, maybe. So, before, when we were sitting in the theater getting ready to watch Doctor Strange, a nice young lady sat down next to me. I don't know if she was nice. She could have been mean. We didn't speak. But she seemed nice enough. And she starts pulling snacks and drinks out of her purse, which I'm all for, because fuck the patriarchy, I'm not going to pay $54 for a couple of hot dogs and a bag of candy.
Yep.
But and so, more power to her, right? So she's taking all that out, and she takes out a can of, I think, wine, and sets it in her little cup holder. And I looked at you, and I was like, how do you think she'd react if I just reached over and took that? Just joking or whatever. And we're like, ha, ha, ha. Well, this poor girl waited until, the worst time. The Marvel fanfare is, just blaring, and as soon as it cuts, right before the movie, actually gets going, you just hear, it's just so loud. And she's looking around, and is like, oh. And I just looked over at her.
It was so loud.
And I just smiled real big, and I gave her a thumbs up, yeah, you're good, baby. No one knew. And she just got
new.
Yeah, you're so good. But honestly, I think that's how she interpreted it. I was giving her a thumbs up, yeah, no, I'm totally here for it. I support you.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was I got a good giggle out of her just looking right at me oh no, did you hear that? And we just giving her a thumbs up, you're good. You're so good.
You're good.
You're right, solid. Don't even fret. I'm still going to watch the movie.
We're just drinking our can of wine.
Yeah, but that whole expression of a can of wine really doesn't sell it to me. You know what I mean? It's the only thing worse than boxed wine, I think, might be canned wine.
Hey, do what you gotta do, Shift don't judge.
I'm ready to talk about it if you are.
Oh yeah. Well, first, I want to say that you saw it. Did you see it opening night?
Yeah, I saw it Thursday night.
Yeah, I did not because I had to work.
Like a fucking goon.
I know.
I bought the tickets 6 weeks in advance, people.
I just
told
can't
the
get
man. You didn't even try. You forgot. Don't lie to me.
I did.
Yeah. I guess one of us takes this whole podcast seriously, and the other one's you.
Whoa. Whoa. I don't like that.
No, we'll be all right.
No, but...
So I saw it Thursday.
Yeah, and I didn't get the opportunity to. So, from Thursday, literally until Sunday, I just did not go on social media.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty proud of that, because I was really worried about spoilers, but I didn't even notice it. I was like, oh, I just can't get on social media, and I was really nervous because I was like, man, social media is very addicting.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had no problem with it, which was pretty cool. And I don't know, I just want to boast.
It's a good thing you stayed off, because
yeah, I mean, I got on, there were so many fucking spoilers. I was like, holy shit.
Holy fuck nuts. Yeah, it's intense. So, yeah. I'll just start off like I normally do when we talk about a movie. The performance, as far as box office performance. Its opening weekend box office is looking at a domestic total right now of $187 million, which is nothing to scoff at, right? For a worldwide of $411 million. And let me see what that budget was here. I forgot to look it up here. Let's see. I'm interested. Because it was a pretty visual heavy. Yeah, okay, so that's about right. That's about what I would expect from one of these. $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure, I always say, double it for marketing. So if it's a $400 million movie, it's already made that back.
Yeah, it's literally been out for not even a week, which is good.
Yeah, it's been out for basically the better part of 3 to 4 days at time of recording. So yeah, they'll be fine. I'm not.
I think
Marvel, MCU fatigue is not set in yet.
Pearson, how much do you think Benedict Cumberbatch made from that movie?
Let's see if it's in here. Let's just type it in here. How much did Benny Cumberbatch? How much make for Doctor Strange 2? Let's see. How much? Show me. I want to know.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. Yeah, they don't have a number yet, which makes sense because it's probably based off of profits of the film, right? And since it's not done yet,
I was just gonna say I'm curious how it feels to become a sellout.
Right. Well, hopefully we do this long enough that we know.
Yeah. No.
No,
I do not want to become a sellout.
That's my end goal, really. That's the end game here. Get this big enough that I can sell it and then retire. Yeah, I don't see that happening, I gotta tell you.
No. You know how many times I get asked by some of my friends, they're like, can I be a special guest?
Yeah, and you know what I say to them? Is your name Chris or Colin? Because those are the hosts. This ain't your podcast, baby. Make your own. Don't ride our curtails. You go do your own.
I want to take... What is it from Herb Welsh?
I don't remember. He has so many. But Herbie Welsh, where he's like, I don't take
orders from a can of hairspray.
From a can of hairspray. He tells them, suck eggs.
Herb Welsh, you suck.
Thank you. But no, we got off on a way big tangent there. I apologize.
Yeah, we did.
From a critical reception standpoint, it's honestly been a little bit divisive, which I could see. So IMDb has it at a 7.5 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Rotten Tomatoes has a 75% critic score and an 87% audience score. And then Metacritic has it at a 6.1, which they listed as mixed to good reviews. So that seems to be the general consensus, is that it's not a Morbius, but it's not an Endgame, right?
All right.
For me, I would think that the 7.5 is probably fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think I talked to you about it. I said, if I was going to give it a ranking within the MCU, I might say it's the top of the middle or the bottom of the top for me.
Sure.
But before we get into all the people and all that, we got the cast and crew. Sam Raimi directed it. He took over for... Dude, I've got to start taking vitamin E or something. My brain's dying. I need to drink some fucking green tea or something. Is this how Alzheimer's starts at 25? I can't think of people's names.
I can't either, but that's really... I don't know. I just have bad memory.
Let's see here. Scott Derrickson. I knew that shit like the back of my hand. I didn't have to look it up.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I was thinking.
Scott Derrickson directed the first one, and he was going to direct this one, and then he left citing creative differences, which made me a little bit nervous because he had been open about wanting to really dive into his horror abilities. because he's known for horror films. He did the Sinister movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, let's see it. And then the fact that he got, they separated over creative differences made me go, well, maybe Marvel didn't want to do like they said. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then they replaced him with Sam Raimi, who's known for his horror movies. So I was like, all right, well, maybe they still mean it.
Which I could definitely notice the difference in a good way.
Yeah, you could feel Sam Raimi's fingers all over this thing.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could. Never mind. Michael Waldron was the writer. Benedict Cumberbatch here is Doctor Strange, obviously. Elizabeth Olsen reprises her role as Wanda Maximoff. And we get Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez, who's also, she's a pretty up-and-coming actress. I was looking at her IMDb, and she's got, like, The Babysitter's Club from Netflix was, like, her major role, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, Benedict Wong reprises his role as Wong, who's currently the Sorcerer Supreme in the MCU.
Yes, which
due to Strange's absence.
I do like how there's still that rival between them.
Yeah, but like a playful rivalry.
Right, yeah.
Strange isn't like planning his comeback in the shadows,
No.
He's not like, yes, enjoy it while it lasts,
No, but I definitely feel as if both Wong and Doctor Strange are like, we know that I'm more powerful, but yeah, you're the Sorcerer Supreme.
But you're the Sorcerer Supreme. But also, I think there might be a bias there of like, people are like, yeah, it's called a Doctor Strange movie, not a Wong movie,
Yeah.
Story synopsis, you got it for me?
Let me see here. Let me go. Shit, you caught me lacking. You caught me lacking. I was leaned back in my chair, and then you're like, synopsis, and I was like,
I hear you typing. Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden
No.
Right. I just thought you were ready,
Oh, baby, I'm so
Mr.
ready.
I don't take no notes.
Dr. Stephen Strange's life changes after a car... Wait, this is the first one?
Jesus H. Christ.
Hold on.
Hold God.
Hold on. We're getting there. Hold on. Easy does it.
Easy boy.
Wait, you might have to do it because the one it's giving me is super short. Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens up a portal to the multiverse. However, a threat emerges that it may be too big for him and his team to handle.
Yeah. So you can't really give a synopsis for this movie. The spoilers start at about the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, it's true.
Honestly. The trailers really did a good job of deceiving.
Correct.
In a good way, I feel. I was glad to go into it and go, oh, really?
Yeah, there was a lot of things that had my jaw, down to my knees.
Yeah. So, the one that I got here is pretty similar. It just says, Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens the doorway to the multiverse, including alternate versions of himself, whose threat to humanity is too great for the combined forces of Strange, Wong, and Wanda Maximoff.
Yeah, that's better.
So we'll do it like we always do. We'll talk about the plot and the chemistry that the characters have in the most spoiler-free way we can. And then we'll give it a little rating, whether we were overwhelmed, simply whelmed, or underwhelmed. And then we'll get into all them spoilers and kind of close off with our final thoughts on the whole thing.
Yes.
Do you want to take the lead, or you want me to lead it?
For the plot and chemistry, I'll start talking about it without getting too much into spoilers. And again, I can't get in too much without spoilers.
Yeah, it's really, we're going to be super vague until we rate it because, like I said, 20 minutes in, it becomes a spoiler.
Yeah. I suppose the first thing that comes to my mind is the chemistry.
Yeah.
The chemistry between a lot of the characters, as we talked about it with him and Wong, I love their little, friendly rival that they have. It's just very nice and reassuring to see that, they're still super close, even though, Doctor Strange isn't the Sorcerer Supreme.
And he was gone for 5 years.
Right. And as well as Doctor Strange has been known for, breaking rules.
Right, yeah.
And Wong is just
boy of sorcery.
Right, yeah, and Wong just kind of pushes it under the rug.
He's like, I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, could have fooled me. But
there's a part in this movie, in the most vague way possible that I can avoid spoilers. Strange breaks some pretty major rules, and Wong is just is basically like, Stephen Strange, you son of a bitch,
Yeah. And then for the plot, I know we both talked about it. It was really good. But there were points in time where it just it felt like I was in the we were in the middle of something, and then there are points in times where I really wanted to see something longer, and I didn't. And then there were times where, like
I
you were
see less
saying,
of something.
Yeah, and it was like, man, this is going on for a minute.
Yeah, why are we still doing this?
But I'm not sure about all the characters we can get into that aren't spoilery.
Yeah, so literally, I think the only things we can talk about are... So I'll read what I have, and then I think we should honestly just rate it so that we can quit tap dancing.
Yeah, dance around the fire.
Yeah, so from a plot standpoint, it picks up pretty soon after WandaVision and No Way Home.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't really spend any time explaining the world to you, which I think is a good thing going forward with the MCU, because it's just getting too bloated to spend precious minutes of a movie or a show or whatever going, okay, so there was a purple guy named Thanos who came down and, you know what I mean?
Right.
It'd be like if you were watching a TV show and you were in season 5 and they were like, okay, we have to recap everything that's happened because you may not have watched the rest of the show. It's like, well, then why are you starting on season 5?
Exactly.
And so we're reaching a point of, we just need to pretend or, act under the pretense that whoever's watching this knows what they're watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's still room for like big team up movies. Like, I honestly think Endgame would probably be more approachable to a newcomer than this, because Endgame, doesn't have you going, oh, so this is Stephen Strange and he's dealing with that or the other. It's like, okay, yep, the world ended. Half of everybody disappeared. Here's the people that are left. They've got some survivor's guilt. Here's how they're going to fix it. You know what I mean?
Right,
and then you get to watch, shit blow up and people dying and living and whatever. And then you're like, man, there was a lot of action in that or whatever. Whereas this is very much like,
story-driven.
Here's Wanda. Here's who she is. Here's, she's upset, but they don't get into who she is, why she might be upset, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
America Chavez, she comes to Strange for help due to reasons, I wrote, because that's about all I can say. So in the comics, this wouldn't be a spoiler because she's a character in the comics. America Chavez's ability is that she can kick or punch holes in reality and open up portals to other realities.
Yes.
And in the comics, she is Miss America. And I love how tacky it is from a comic. Like, it's so comic book. Like, her name is America. She goes by Miss America. The holes that she punches in reality are star-shaped. You know what I mean?
Yep,
She is, the Star-Spangled Man. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then from a chemistry standpoint, I did say that America Chavez, is incredibly charming, and she benefits from being portrayed by an actual teenager, I think. Because, about 20 years ago, it would have been like, let's get a bunch of 30-year-olds to play teenagers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you've got a bunch of like 28-year-olds in the OC playing, juniors and seniors in high school. And you're like, why don't I look like them? You know what I mean?
Right.
That guy looks like he shaved this morning, and he is about 200 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, he's got a 5 o'clock shadow for a 14-year-old.
Yeah. And then I thought that Elizabeth Olsen did a very good job of basically picking up where WandaVision left off from like an emotional motivation standpoint. And then, like you said, Wong and Strange both play off of each other really well. And you believe that they've been doing this together for quite some time.
Yeah.
So that's really all I think we can talk about.
Yeah, without spoiling anything.
We rate it and then we spoil it. And then we just, wrap it up, talk about how we thought it was overall. What do you think? You ready?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Oh, are you ready, though?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Oh, I'm fucking ready. So, were you overwhelmed, simply whelmed, underwhelmed?
I was overwhelmed.
Were you?
I think I was.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna say I'm over. Well, I'll let you say yours, and then I'll say why, because mine goes into spoilers.
Okay. So I was very torn. If we had I wish we weren't so non-nuanced in our rating system sometimes, because I think this falls between overwhelmed and simply whelmed for me. But I would lean more towards overwhelmed just because I enjoyed it. But I think I was simply whelmed because, again, spoiler reasons.
Yeah.
So,
but hopping into it, trying to stay that chronological order, because we did that last time. That went really well. Seeing Strange wake up from that dream of him basically letting the girl die, or not saving her, trying to get to
No, it wasn't even that. He straight up was going to murder her.
Oh yeah, because he was going to take her power.
He was going to take her powers, and it was going to kill her because there is some demon chasing them through this very twisty Doctor Strange chaos world. And this Doctor Strange has a ponytail with gray streaks in it and can speak Spanish. and he has no cloak. And yeah, they're running and jumping and fighting and whatever. And they can't hold the demon back too much longer. It's so strong and it needs your powers, whatever. And he starts sucking her powers out of her with like hand magic, And she's like, "But you're killing me." And he's like, he uses the line from No Way Home that your sacrifice in the grand calculus of the multiverse, it basically means much more than you being alive, right?
Right.
Which is how he talks about the Spider-Man villains in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Is that, if they have to die to keep things from falling into chaos, okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, is an understandable,
Yeah, it's a very pragmatic standpoint.
Right.
And that's when we find out that dreams in the MCU, dreams are actually windows to other universes. So it's not just a figment of your imagination, right? It's something happening. It's somewhere. Something happening to a version of you, yeah. Which Wong makes the joke that the recurring nightmare of him being naked, being chased by a clown. She's like, somewhere out there, man.
Yeah. Like looking at him all weird, like, the fuck?
Yeah. There is a universe where you are naked being chased by a clown. And he's like, oh, rough, and that's when we see her in that dream sequence. We get to see her powers where she looks like she's going to die, right?
And then she kicks a portal open, doesn't she?
No, she doesn't kick it open. She is all tied up.
Yeah, she freaks out and like blows up.
Yeah, she's doing the Moon Knight, like her eyes are all glazing over. And
yeah.
Then the fucking star just opens up behind her. And Defender Strange, who's like on his dying breath, throws some like magic ninja stars to cut the tendrils of the demon. And she goes flying into the portal and he gets sucked in with it.
Yep.
Or with her. And that's when they show up at our universe. Well, Earth 616, which is the MCU. Mm-hmm. Right? And you get a pretty good, like, little bit of emotional character beat for Strange, where he's going to Christine Palmer's wedding because she didn't get snapped. And so he was gone for 5 years. And in those 5 years, she found happiness, right? And she moved on and she made the jump, right? And so you get to see him have to kind of swallow his pride and be present at the love of his life's wedding that he's not the groom at, right? And who's at the wedding with him?
Oh, it's that other doctor.
Yeah, it's Dr. Nicodemus West from my comic book. And I was like, oh shit, is he about to be like playing a role in this? And no, like, but they did give a little bit of something to him, which that guy's agent, I don't have the actor's name here. That guy's agent needs a raise because he's like the 5th billed actor on the list, and he literally has a conversation with Strange in it.
Yeah.
So like he got a deal. Yeah, he got a deal.
I did like that conversation that he said. That he was like, because it really is like you're not sure where everyone stands with Doctor Strange. Because they kind of saved everybody, kind of not.
Right. Strange is the one that made the sacrifice play.
Right. And he leans over and he's like, "Is that what you had to do?" Like, because there's a little bit of that comedic relief because he's like, I lost both my cats, and Doctor Strange is like, "That's it," and then he's like, "And my brother." But,
and you're like, "Ooh, yeah," because basically while he was snapped and gone, his brother passed away and he wasn't there for it.
Yeah. So there is that sad moment, and then it is just like Doctor Strange, like, that was the only way.
Yeah.
That we would have made it.
And that's when he's like, of course it was. You're the best surgeon and the best superhero.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh. And then he does get to have that conversation with Christine where he didn't really apologize. It was a non-apology, right? Mm-hmm. But it was like the closest he could bring himself to basically apologizing for being a fuckhead.
Yeah.
And she has that really good line where she says, because she goes, "It was never going to work with us." And he's like, "What?" And she says, "You always had to be the one holding the knife. And I respected you for it, but I could never love you for it."
Yep.
And he's like, "Fuck." Like, that's when he asked her, "How long you been having that? How long you had that one in the barrel?"
Yeah. How long you been brewing that one up?
And she's like, "A long time. Like, I've had that one." And I like the little detail that her husband is like a Doctor Strange fan.
Yeah.
She's like, this is embarrassing, but he needs to meet you because he's a big fan. And that's when chaos starts happening out on the street, and we get to see Doctor Strange actually doing some superheroing.
Yeah.
Where like he's like, "Duty calls," and he slams back his third martini and puts it down on the tray and throws his cloak on and dives over the railing, right? Mm-hmm. He goes into action. And
which I want to talk about really quick about that first fight scene.
Yeah. Get in there.
So in that first fight scene, he at first everything's floating by itself.
Yeah, he can't see what's there.
Right, and then Steven does some voodoo magic, and he kind of moves away whatever spell it is that's making him invisible, and he can see it, which happens in my comic book.
Monster.
Well, that's what's in my comic book is how
okay.
he could see them, but nobody else could see them. So it kind of shows like he knows something's there, so he moves it, so the spell, so he can see it. But that played very heavily in my comic book of how nobody can see them.
Yeah.
But and then that first scene, that's where we get introduced into America.
Really get to meet America. And you get, like I said, you get to see him doing some superheroing where like she's falling and he throws his cloak out to catch her. Mm-hmm. And then, so like now he's fighting without his cloak because he ends up getting batted away, getting knocked unconscious. Wong rolls up to help save the day, right? And we get to see Wong doing some shiz, right? And America is about to get, screwed up. And the cloak's like, I got you,
I got you, baby.
Takes her up, trying to get her up to the roof of a building, and then the fucking tentacle monster throws a motorcycle at her.
Yeah, and it hits the cloak, pins the cloak.
Yeah, and she just lands on like the balcony, basically like the edge of a building. And Strange and Wong are trying to come together there. They've got those that's when I was saying like they work well together. They
do. They really do.
They like slap some chains on the thing, like magical chains, right? They summon chains or whatever. And are trying to hold it back because it's trying to climb the building. And it's not working. They just both get drug up the side of the building with it.
Yeah.
And that's like you pointed out. Some of the gruesomeness starts now when Strange like summons these two fists that can go down and yank a lamppost up out of the ground. And he basically uses it as like a giant spear to stab it right in its eye. And it's pretty gross.
It pops it out of its socket, and I mean, no blood was squirting out, but I mean you just see
there was some blood, like
right, yeah, but it wasn't too explicit.
It wasn't like Doom, like just blood and guts everywhere.
But no, it popped the eye out, and we saw the back of its eye and just the monster with an empty eye socket
tumbling. Yeah,
and I mean, for a Marvel movie to kick off, I remember I kind of jumped back and I was like, oh my god, Jesus, I wasn't expecting that whatsoever.
Yeah, that's America gets to kind of tell Strange and Wong about the fact that she's from another universe, and in her universe, here's what happened to me, right? And she's describing his dream to him, and that's when it comes to to be realized that the dreams are the windows to other universes, and they're like, we need a little proof, and she takes him to the fucking roof of a building. And just whips back a blanket, and there's Defender Strange, which is what they credit that Strange as. Just a corpse.
Yeah.
And it's rough. Yeah. And Strange just straight up buries the body.
In the ground, in the ceiling where they're standing.
Yeah. Yeah, in the roof of the building. He's
on the roof.
Let's just put that away. And Wong's like, Jesus, really? That's got to violate some ordinance. And he's like, well, I've buried worse,
Which makes me, I want to, what is he buried? I want to see.
Yeah.
But no, I was going to say, something I really liked is with America, when she's like, do you guys know what the multiverse is? And Doctor Strange was like, I kind of, a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, she was like, oh, okay, thank God. I don't have to explain this. And then just dips right into it. So, it definitely, for as new as the multiverse is, I could have definitely seen them trying to keep explaining it over and over again. But I feel like we're at a comfortable spot where we didn't need to hear it again.
We don't,
because it's this point we know what it is. Help us, show us, and
show us, don't tell us.
Exactly, yeah. And so it quickly hopped to that, which I liked.
Yes. So just to try and get it moving along here, the demon that they fought, the monster that they fought, had runes all over its arms, and that's when Strange and Wong both go, we're not dealing with sorcery, we're dealing with witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And Strange's like, well, I know a witch, And he goes to visit Wanda, and we get a really heartbreaking scene. Where he's like, I think I might know. And they play the WandaVision theme, and WandaVision. And it's just Wanda and her boys, the twins, fucking around in the kitchen or whatever, and she's making brownies maybe, or pudding or something, and they're stealing swipes of it with their finger, and she's getting them a hard time, and then she goes and she's tucking them into bed, and they're all, having a sweet moment about how she's always going to be their mother and love them, and then just a real hard cut to Wanda waking up from her dream, and you're like, oh man, rough,
Move.
Like that, reality snapping back really quick, that she doesn't have them. But obviously, then the implication being that there's a universe where she does, right? If she's dreaming it.
Yeah, she's dreaming about it.
And, Strange comes to visit her in the apple orchard, and you've seen it in the trailers, and he's talking to her about, what do you know about the multiverse or whatever, and she says that, Vision had his theories, right? And he's like, yeah, well, it is real, and I need your help. And I did like that she's like, he's like, I need an Avenger. And she's like, well, there's plenty of other Avengers. He's like, yeah, well, an archer with a mohawk or an array of insect-themed superheroes, doesn't really hold a candle to one of the most powerful magic users I've ever met,
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, makes sense. And so that does kind of help solve the problem that a lot of these solo movies or, smaller movies have of where you're like, why didn't he just get the Avengers to help?
Right.
Is because it's not it's more than an Avengers level threat, right? This is witchcraft and sorcery.
Yeah, which is Strange's
Hawkeye's
and
back,
Wanda's. Right, yeah.
Like Hawkeye ain't gonna fix it. Captain America is
old.
Well, and so now you've got the Falcon being Captain America, but again, he's not even a Superman. He's not a super human.
Oh yeah.
He's not juiced up. He's just a guy with wings and a shield.
Yeah, but I part of me wants to see a little more of that too. I want to see that.
Oh yeah, we will. You figure it's been confirmed that we're going to get a Captain America 4, and it's going to be Sam Wilson.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm excited for that, but it's not even in production yet, I don't think.
Damn.
But yeah, so pretty quickly, it coming undone there, where it's a good little slip up in the conversation where he's talking about the girl that's at Comertage for safety because something's trying to get her, and she says, well, why don't you just bring America here and I can keep her safe here or whatever and figure out who's after her. And he kind of stops in his tracks, and she keeps walking, and that's when he turns and looks at him. She goes, you didn't tell me her name, did you? He goes, no, I didn't. And you're like, oh fuck, it's her. And she kind of drops the facade, and you see that her apple orchard and her manor that she's living at are all just corrupted and burnt and red. And she's got the Darkhold that we saw at the end of WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
And Strange is straight up like, that's the fucking Darkhold, and it corrupts everything and everyone that it touches. And that's when he's like, makes me wonder what it's done to you. And that's when you're like, yeah, he's fucked up.
Yeah. And then she just goes on and says, it tells me the answers of how to get what I want.
Yeah. And so in her whole plan is she's going to get America and take her powers and use them to travel the multiverse to get to her kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Strange is like, yeah, can't let that happen. Sorry, babe. And she basically tells him, how about you go back to Comertage and be prepared to hand her over peacefully by, by sundown.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I don't know why I would do that. And she basically says, I'm going to give you this nice way, and if that doesn't go peacefully, Wanda won't be coming for her. The Scarlet Witch will be.
Which was hot.
Fuck. Yeah, oh my God.
That was hot.
And so, like I said, that's 20 minutes into the movie, and now you're like, oh shit, so Wanda just straight up is the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was gonna be, alongside them, and then something would happen that made her take a,
Yeah.
But no, she's just straight up, she is the antagonist of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they go to Comertage, and Strange is like, yeah, she's coming. This isn't good. And that's when America's like, so wait a minute. The person that is going to help me actually is the one that's after me, and you told her where I am. And he's like, yeah, basically, yeah. And they're all like, well, let's turn Comertage into a fortress. And so all the students and all the sorcerers and everybody are arming up, and it was pretty hot. It was very Lord of the Rings or anything like that, where they're all getting their arrows in line of the walls. And Wanda just shows up and starts fucking it up.
Yeah.
She starts to see her use her mind powers.
Yeah, and which it was very scary in this sense because when she did use it, it got really quiet, and then and we hear it kind of throughout the movie, it's kind of like the a very faint scream.
Yeah.
And then it whispers, and then you hear that scream as it kind of pans in on the student whose mind
she's trying to corrupt.
Yeah, and then
she tells him to run.
Yeah, and then it gets silent, and she goes run, and then
he starts freaking out.
Yeah, and then there's holes in the shield that she's basically got her finger guns to, and is pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, and it starts. Yeah, so anyways, I started blasting.
I started blasting.
So she makes really quick work of Comertage. They stand no chance.
And which
crushing buildings with one swipe of her hand.
Yeah, which I truly love because with her being the Scarlet Witch, I'm fairly certain. I'm not sure if in the comics, but at least in the MCU, Scarlet Witch hands down is the most powerful person.
Yeah, in the MCU right now, Kevin Feige even straight up said that she is the strongest hero that we've seen right now.
Yeah, and so, I mean, nobody can fucking handle all that, and yeah, she
No.
was blowing shit up real quick, and they Doctor Strange was basically like, "We gotta get out of here."
Yeah, like Wong is trying to bark orders at all the students and stuff, and Strange's like, "Wong, get the fuck out of there!" Like, Strange is like, "Fall back, fall back!" And they all like fall back into the temple, and there's a guy like trying to crawl to safety, and she just fucking burns him to a crisp with just a swipe of her hand.
Yeah, and which was the next scene that we saw that was really gruesome when she flew into Kamar-Taj. Because she was flying in front of it during the whole thing. Then she flies down and starts walking. You just see a line of burnt bodies.
Yeah, where they're just all fried. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, which again, I was like, damn, that's hardcore, man.
Yeah, and Strange traps her in like some weird illusion mirror room, right? To keep
I was
her
gonna say,
from
almost
being
like a mirror dimension.
Yeah, and she fucking uses her reality bending to just use the mirrors as a window to other reflections.
Mm-hmm.
And is like watching them through puddles in the room they're in. And so they're trying to cover all the puddles, right? And she just makes their fucking sling rings disappear so that they can't get out.
Yeah,
And,
which I mean is such a very real thing. Like, why, because I could definitely, if that didn't happen, I could see myself thinking, why didn't they do that?
Why didn't they just use the sling ring? Well, because she can make reality anything she wants.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't going to get out of there. So, yeah, they're panicking, trying to cover all the puddles. And there's a fucking gong in the room that she comes crawling out of, like the fucking the ring. Yeah. Which I'm sure was an homage to that.
Sure.
And because it's like the mirrors that she was trapped in were kind of sharp and jagged, so she comes crawling through the gong and she's all twisted and cut up and tore up. And she just starts like twisting herself back into place and healing herself with magic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really horrifying. Cause like you hear her cricking and cracking as she's snapping back into place.
Yeah, it was really scary.
Yeah, I was like, man, there's probably like this was a pretty hard PG-13 where I'm like, one of the ladies I work with asked me, and I was like, I don't know if I'd take your little one, like, because there's quite a bit of scary to it and some gruesome stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
For being a PG-13 Marvel movie, right?
I mean, if you told me that movie was rated R, I'd be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's a hard PG-13 or a soft R. Like,
which I love. I need more of that. They
were a couple of swear words away from an R.
Yeah.
But, so all of that to say that, basically, she's got the upper hand, they're all done for, and in true fashion, America Chavez, who can't control her powers, but they always seem to kick in when she's in danger.
Mm-hmm.
She opens a portal, and Strange sees the opportunity, and he tackles her through it. And that's when we get the most exposure to the multiverse, honestly, as far as like just the volume of multiverse of universes, which
we both talked about, as they're kind of leaping through each multiverse. You said you were the one who told me this. You get that most. That's the most you get of seeing all the different multiverses.
Yeah,
because you only land, I think, in what two other
ones outside of
and
ours,
they were pretty like. Yeah, and they were pretty close to like what.
Yeah, they're
Earth
similar
was.
to Earth.
So yeah, it's kind of like, damn, I wanted something that was a little offbeat, something where you're like, what the fuck? Where are they?
Because you see them, like one of the ones they go through, they're literally paint.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously they couldn't use that one, but that's interesting just to see like how diverse it makes me think of Everything Everywhere All at Once, where they've got fucking hot fingers.
Yeah, I mean, because that is, I mean, somewhere out there's ought to be one where we're made of paint,
if there's
whatever it is.
An infinite number of universes, anything. There is definitely a universe where anything happens, right?
Yeah, right.
But so
I was pretty bummed.
I think they go through 2099.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think there's Earth 2099 in there, which is the universe where obviously
Diego
Spider-Man 2099 comes from. So his name straight up is not Diego. I edited that out last week because I didn't want you getting bashed on.
Isn't it Diego?
No. Go ahead, look it up.
Oh, it's Miguel.
Yeah.
It's
Miguel
O'Hara.
Yeah. So
I don't know why. I thought it was Diego.
I know why.
Why?
It just makes me think of fucking Diego from
Go Diego.
Dora. Yeah. But no. So we do. We see the 2099 universe, I'm pretty sure. Or at least something that's supposed to be that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up landing in Earth 838, which is pretty similar to ours, but it looks like everything has gone right for them for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very utopian looking. And, pretty quickly he and America are like, all right, well, let's find let's find the me in this universe, right? Because that's how we find out that America Chavez has no variants.
Yeah, because she's the only one that's there, and she makes the comment. She's like, "I don't dream."
Yeah, she says, "I've looked." She's like, "There are none." He goes, how do you know? And she's like, I've looked and I don't dream. And so Strange is like, boof. Well, let's go find me then. So they go to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and there's a big statue to Strange, and the plaque on it says that Doctor Strange gave his life in the fight against Thanos and basically saved the world. And so you're like, oh man, does that mean that there was a path that he could have taken other than giving up the stone? Right, but he didn't want to die,
But like, it kind of quickly evades that wasn't the case.
Right. So the whole question is like, well, then I wonder who's running the Sanctum, and it's fucking Baron Mordo, and he's like, whoa, that guy fucking hates me, and then he's just like, my brother, and he gives him a big hug, and he's like, all right,
and there is kind of like that, again, the director of Evil Dead, Sam Raimi, where there's that close up and zoom in of their eyes, and the camera's shaky,
and they're like, squinting angrily at each other, glaring, and so
that got me giggling.
Yeah, they're like, like they're about to have a fucking standoff. Yeah, it's very Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, a Mexican standoff.
Feeling lucky,
but that's Dirty Harry.
Well, it's the same concept.
Yeah, it's the same actor. Anyways, so they go in, they're talking mad smack with Baron Mordo, and Mordo's like, damn, that's mad crazy that you can travel the multiverse. By the way, I fucking spiked your tea.
Yeah, literally.
And fucking Strange is tripping balls, and he's like, you son of a bitch. Yeah. He's like, he just fucking goes down. He's done. Mm-hmm. And it does a little bit of hopping back and forth. I feel bad because Wanda is super good in this movie, but while she's stuck in Earth 616 trying to figure out how to get to them, that stuff felt like an interruption to me.
Yeah, but I agree, but I also think that it flips big time because it hit a point where I was like, all right, that's cool. I want to fucking see what's throwing down with Wanda.
Right, yeah. But yeah, so basically her and Wong are just Jay chillin'. She's got Wong all strung up, and she's doing something called dream walking, which Mordo explains before he spikes their tea, that basically the worst thing that she can do using the Darkhold is called dream walking, which is where she can basically possess one of her variant's bodies and have complete control within that universe, right? And as they're doing that, we get a very Evil Dead, like Drag Me to Hell horror scene of Wanda in Earth 838, just Jay chilling with her twins and like cleaning up dinner or whatever, and there's something in the room like stalking her, and you're like, oh man, what is this, And it's obviously our Wanda trying to take her body. Mm-hmm. And as she starts taking her over, you see like the lights are flickering, and she's hallucinating and seeing like the water in the cup looks like waves in an ocean slapping against the shore. And fucking, we both were like, because she looks up at her reflection in the window, and the reflection is our Wanda. Yeah, the Scarlet Witch. And then she kind of like starts tweaking out, and then she's got her, right? Yeah. And she fucking looks directly into the camera.
Breaks that fourth wall.
And makes eye contact with the viewer, and you're like, boo.
Yeah, that was fucking terrifying.
Which, should I say what I think it is?
Yes.
So, in What If, the Watcher is narrating to us, right? Which, to me, means that technically we exist in the MCU if the Watcher is able to talk to us. And so my thought was maybe Wanda can also see us. Like, maybe she's at a level multiversal awareness that she can see us, or like what do they call him? Infinity Ultron from What If? How he, when everything's quiet and peaceful, he can see the Watcher because he's become aware of the multiverse, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe she could see between the multiverse, making mad eye contact with Watcher. Because I really was expecting to see the Watcher in this, and we don't.
Yeah.
Or at least get a reference to him.
Nothing.
Because if this kind of shit's going down with the multiverse, you'd think the Watcher would be like, the fuck is going on over there,
Right, literally.
But we don't. But yeah, so that was mad creepy, where we were both like, willies that she's looking at us, right? Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, it jumps back and forth. So we get to see the Illuminati.
Yeah. Which we saw in the trailer, which...
Yeah, we heard that they were going to be in the trailer.
I was a little bummed about, because that's what I was really looking forward to as like the big plot point, which kind of goes back into what we were talking about earlier with how at points it felt like it was dragging, or like, it was going somewhere that ended up going nowhere. With the Illuminati was one of them, because
go ahead.
I was gonna say, we see them get introduced, and it's like, and I'll just dive right into the scene because it picks up where it leaves off. So you see all of the Illuminati, and it starts off with Captain Carter, I think.
From What If. Yeah, I've got them listed out here with the person playing them. If you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead and
So Haley Atwell's playing Captain Carter, which is, Peggy Carter. But what if she got the super serum instead of Steve? And then we've got Black Bolt, who is Anson Mount, which is the actor that played Black Bolt in that horrendous Inhumans show that I talked about a few episodes ago. Which I'm like, oh no, does that mean that that's canon? Or maybe somewhere in the multiverse it is, right? Is the idea. And then Captain Marvel, but in this case it's Maria Rambeau, as opposed to Carol Danvers. And then the big reveal is that we get Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski, which is like the big fan casting. Right?
When that happened,
you're a big Office fan.
I fucking love The Office. When that happened, I shit my pants a little bit, looked at
like
you, and I jumped.
The chair looking at me.
I jumped like 5 feet. I had to try to keep my composure because we were in the theater, but I was like, Colin, it's Jim.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, good job.
No, but I do like John Krasinski as an actor alone, especially in
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place. Yeah, I always get that one in Don't Breathe for whatever reason.
Yeah,
but A Quiet Place, and he directed and starred in that, which I loved, and I just want to see more of him.
Yeah, I bet you do. You want to see all of them, don't you?
Well,
Bofa.
To put it diplomatically, yes, I do.
Yeah. And then obviously the other big one for me was Professor X. Patrick Stewart playing Professor X again. And
he's getting old.
He is legitimately getting old. But I told you on the drive home, I think that is supposed to be the Professor X from the animated series because he's in his yellow hover chair. And as he comes out,
I googled. And I saw the yellow chair. I was like, oh shit, yeah.
And as he's coming out, the theme music like plays lightly of the I was like, because I used to watch the fuck out of that show. And then obviously the last member that we get to see is the Sorcerer Supreme, who is Baron Mordo at this time. And so there you go. That's the Illuminati we're saying.
Yeah, and we meet all of them, and basically they go on to tell him that we understand, because he's like basically on trial because they're like, we don't know how dangerous you are. And they're going on by telling him
they're trying to avoid an incursion.
Correct, yeah, which is when the multiverses collide and either one or both of them are destroyed.
Yeah, when they overlap for too long, the risk of them destroying each other or, one of them goes up.
Yeah, and, they go on to basically say how, our biggest threat is yours
isn't the Scarlet Witch. It's
you. And then
Doctor Strange, because they're Strange caused an incursion.
And then basically that's all they really talk about. Then Scarlet Witch pops up, and I mean just fucks.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Hard.
Yeah.
And they weren't shy with it.
No, we get to see Black Bolt's powers early when they're talking about Strange. Because, they straight up, take out Thanos. It seems like no trouble.
Yeah.
Because they have, there's the Darkhold, and then the Book of Vishanti is, the antithesis of it, where instead of it being corrupting, it can give the sorcerer whatever he needs to defeat his enemy, right? And so Strange 838 was using the Darkhold to travel the multiverse and dreamwalk, hoping he could find the answer, and that's how he finds the Book of Vishanti, but it's corrupted him and he caused it and all that. And so they use the Book of Vishanti to stop Thanos, and then he's the one that formed the Illuminati so that they could make all these hard decisions. And he's like, the right thing to do would probably be to execute me because the Darkhold's got me fucked up. And Black Bolt just straight up whispers the words, I'm sorry. And his voice just radiates hardcore energy. In the comics, his scream is equated to an atomic bomb. And so he just I'm sorry, and vaporizes their Strange. And so then that leads up to, you were saying, that she fucks the Illuminati up.
Yeah, and it starts off, let's see, it was Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, and
Captain Marvel.
I guess it was all of them. Captain Marvel and
Captain Carter.
Captain Carter and Captain Marvel. Yeah. And John Krasinski basically goes on to say, he's like, come on, let's not do this.
Let's do this. And he tries to empathize with her.
Yeah, he's like, listen, he's like, I'm a dad, I understand. I have kids, and then
she's got a cold ass fucking line.
Yeah, she says,
is their mother alive?
Yeah, is their mother alive? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, good. They'll have someone to raise her.
Raise them. And you're like, whoa.
And then just turns him into spaghetti, just rips him apart.
He's like Wanda, baby. Black Bolt here could destroy you with a whisper from his mouth. And she goes, what mouth?
What mouth?
And it pans down, and he has no mouth. And he starts freaking out, and everybody's looking at him like, what? And he panics and, goes, And his fucking, his head doesn't pop, but you hear, a boom. and you see just his eyes go red with blood, and blood starts coming out of his nose, and you see his head fucking sink in, and he just collapses dead. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, when I saw it the first time, my wife and I both went, whoa! Like, Jesus! And that's when Strange was like, all right, well, that's fucked up. Or not Strange, Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic
is like, he reaches out to like do some stretchy shit, and she just stops his hand in midair and just starts turning his ass to spaghetti. And he's screaming in agony, and then
his head pops. Yeah.
And you're like, whoa.
And then like, I really
in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, and I really did enjoy the fight scene with Captain Carter and Captain Marvel. Because Captain Carter was laying in some good punches.
Yeah, she was standing her ground.
Yeah, and with the jetpack, she'd kind of catch herself, and then Wanda got a hold of the shield with her powers and just launched it back at her and sliced her in half. And then
and we get to hear her say the line, don't we?
Yeah, I could do this all day.
Do this all day. And you're like, whoa, she said it.
She
said that shit, and then she gets fucking cut in half with the shield. You're like,
yep. And then Captain Marvel
just gets fucking crushed by a fucking statue.
Yeah, hard.
Like, wow.
Hard.
Which I was kind of like, I don't know, because like, in What If, we get to see that fucking Infinity Vision or Infinity Ultron had to literally drive Captain Marvel into the core of a planet and explode it to kill her.
Hey man, I ain't gonna argue with it. We got to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was still cool.
Beat some ass.
It was cool, but I'm like, I don't know that she could. Like, there's probably a better way for her to kill that Captain Marvel. Like, maybe use her powers to like push her own powers back into her and blow her up or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would work too.
As opposed to like, I'm just gonna crush this being that could tank a punch from Thanos until he has the power stem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, she does. She fucks them up. And I saw an interview today where Elizabeth Olsen was a little upset that they stood their ground as long as they did, which makes sense because like Captain Carter is just a superhuman, right?
Yeah.
Like Captain Marvel makes a bit more sense because she is, a pretty high tier power.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Captain Carter really stands her ground. And the way they explained it to Elizabeth to justify why it's a 5-minute fight as opposed to a 5-second fight is that it's not actually her body, right? She's having to basically think of it like she's doing it through Bluetooth, right? Like remote access.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that body isn't as skilled. Like that body's just a mother who's given up magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she's kind of using an inexperienced body to do it. And she still takes the Illuminati on in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then
fucking
Professor Xavier.
Yeah, Professor X basically is like, he's like, all right, Mr. Doctor Strange, if you were to escape somehow, you would definitely want to get the girl Shanti.
Mm-hmm.
And Strange is like, word? And he's like, yeah, I'll go buy you some time. And he dips. And then Mordo is not feeling it. And we can see Strange and Mordo have like a fisticuff fight. Because Strange has handcuffs on that like stop his magic from being used. And yeah, straight up Mordo and him fight, and he traps Mordo, and he goes running to find them. And fucking Wanda's getting up on America. She's gonna get her. And Professor X steps in to save the day.
It gets in her mind. They get in each other's mind.
Yeah. And it was really neat to see him go into her mind, and that it's just this big white landscape, and you get to see the rubble from her apartment block. Like we got to see in WandaVision, and she's watching WandaVision on the television, and you're like, oh no, that's kind of sad. And he's trying to save her. He's trying to pull her out from under the rubble and hope that if he can free her from her own mind, then it'll push out the Scarlet Witch.
Mm-hmm.
And the fucking Scarlet Witch rolls in like a red fog and literally rips his face in half. Like, I originally thought she snapped his neck, but I was watching the clip on TikTok. She grabs his bottom of his face and the top of his face and twists.
Jesus.
And you're like, whoa. And they kind of hide it by having the fog roll around him, the red fog,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's no blood because it's the red fog, right? But yeah. And then fucking Professor X just slumps over dead in his hover chair, and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we got to pick up the pace a little bit. I think we're running along. It's just there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So from there, basically, Strange ends up getting Sorcerer Supreme, and then they run and find Christine.
Yep.
Christine basically,
Palmer and America. Yep.
And they're basically is like, all right, you gotta fucking take me to this book, like, now.
Yeah.
And so after a little bit of convincing, they start running, and Wanda starts chasing them, just
like a fucking zombie.
Yeah, like she can't walk right because covered in blood, glass, bunch of shit. And so she's just keeping full steam ahead, ripping apart, like, he'll try to close doors, do
Big,
anything
like,
to block the way.
Iron bulkhead doors, yeah.
And she's just ripping them to shreds. I mean, just following them. And then from there, what happened?
They go to grab the Book of Ashanti, and she catches up to them and destroys the Book of Ashanti.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we forgot to mention Wanda and Wong in their little adventures. The book, what is it called? The Darkhold gets destroyed, and Wong is like, look, there's a temple that has all the stuff on the walls, and she's like, take me there, and she does. And you find out that it's like written in stone that she's meant to be the Scarlet Witch that rules everything, because there's like a gigantic stone mural to her and these giant like stone golems that are like, my queen, and like bow to her.
Yeah.
And that's where she's, doing all of the magic bippity boppity. And she takes America back there. She like possesses America and uses her powers to send Palmer and Strange tumbling through the multiverse to a dead universe that's been the victim of an incursion.
Mm-hmm.
And then she takes America back to Earth 616 to steal her powers and use them, right? And who do we meet in the incursion world?
We meet the evil Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think he was credited as Sinister.
Sinister Strange.
And, or as he calls him, my other me.
Yeah.
And, they have... You didn't like it, but I was impressed with it. I thought it was, like, pretty visually interesting magic, which you said you wanted more of.
I'm not saying it wasn't. All I'm saying is...
They have a music fight.
They have a music fight, and it's very, like... kind of like that Beethoven.
Yeah, where one of them's using, more light. Our Strange is using like upbeat, high sounding. And other, Sinister Strange is using like the deep, bassy sounds because he's bad, right?
Right. And it wasn't that I didn't like it, because I said I thought it was interesting how they pulled the ink off the paper and they were able to kind of twist it and use it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like how the music was playing, because it felt a little silly, and I was really looking forward to seeing that fight, and I expected it to be a little more serious just with how the rest of the movie went. It just felt a little too silly.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Sue me. So yeah, the Sinister Strange has the Darkhold, which is our Strange is like, all right, well, I need that because I'm gonna use it to dreamwalk, try and see if I can't get to our world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they fight. He beats him, and you find out that Sinister Strange has been traveling the multiverse by dreamwalking, trying to find a universe where they're happy.
Yeah.
With Christine. And he can't find one, which kind of made me think of the What If episode.
The What If, yeah, he gets stuck in that universe.
Yeah, because there is not a way that he and Christine end up together.
Yep, which is really sad.
Yeah, that's pretty depressing.
Like the love of his life, in no universe ever, in an infinite amount of universes, are they ever happy?
And so he fights him and he takes him down. And gets the Darkhold, and Christine's like, you son of a fucking bitch, like, you're using the Dark, and I thought I could trust you. And he's like, listen, I know what you're looking at. She's like, you strangers are all the same, and he's like, yeah, I guess we are, but this is the only chance we have to save that girl. He does some mad shit, because she's like, dude, you can't be dreamwalking. And he's like, well, not just dreamwalking. I need you to stay here and defend me in case they get mad at me for trespassing. And she's like, who's they? He's like, the souls of the damned. And you're like, what? And he straight up pulls all the candles around like a seance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And lights them all and takes possession of Defender Strange's corpse back in Earth 616. And it is so Evil Dead.
Yes, it is.
In a really great way.
Like the camera angles, how it'd be like sideways.
Yeah, and there's like the lightning strike, and it's very like, the dead rising from the ground, and he sits straight up out of the grave. Well, no, first is his fucking hand bursting through the ground. Hand. Yeah, and you're like, whoa, this is hardcore. Like, that's how we get Zombie Strange.
Yep.
Is the possession of a corpse, right? And so he uses the sling ring and takes himself to the mountaintop, right, where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And all the fucking souls of the damned start attacking him. And it was kind of neat that you see him, like, in the incursion world, like, shivering, and his temperature's dropping, and he's fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they all start coming out of him, and fucking, that's another, like, Sam Raimi horror movie moment where the demons are flying, or the spirits are flying around, attacking her, and she grabs I forget what the magic tool that she uses is.
But basically it's a cannon. Yeah.
And she fucking says, go back to hell, and lights it and blows him away.
Which I loved. I loved it.
Yeah. Like, it was super tongue-in-cheek. It was way on the nose in the best. Yep, the Sam Raimi horror scene, right? And she tells Strange, like, you're the fucking master of the mystic arts, and these are just souls. Use them. Like, why are you letting them take you? And it's like, it clicks in his head that he's like, fuck, you're right. And so he fucking wraps them all up and makes a cloak up, and it's just hardcore. Just a zombie Strange with just all these arms of anger.
Souls.
Just wrapped around him, and you're like, yeah, this is hardcore. It's like... he's leveled up, and so he goes flying into battle. Yeah, he goes flying into battle, and he's fighting Wanda, and you get to see, like, she fires her magic at him, right? And the souls are just like literally sucking it up like their lifeblood,
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, like she has nothing on, and so he traps her up. And Wong's helping him. And one of my complaints was, the whole movie's about America not being able to control powers, and somebody that can control them needs to take them from her, right? Mm-hmm. And Wong kind of has that moment where, like, he's like, dude, much longer, just gonna have to take her powers. And obviously it's a parallel to the beginning of the movie where Defense Strange is gonna do it, and he looks like, and this time she's like, I get it, like, it's the only play because I can't do it. And for some reason, him going, but you can control your powers. And then she's just all of a sudden like, fuck, I guess you're right, I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a little cheesy.
It was a little bit like, oh shit, you're right. I forgot I could control my powers. But I get the reasoning. He's like, you've been able to control powers because every time that you've used them, it's taken us to where we need to be. Mm-hmm. Right. So somewhere inside of her, she does have a little bit of control over it. And so he tells her, like, you're going to kick that witch's ass. And which, again, was like another cheesy one-liner, right? Mm-hmm. In a good way. But yeah, so America jumps up and just starts punching the fuck out of her and making the star portals, right? And is going to knock her off this cliff into, like, the fiery abyss. And
but then she punches that portal that takes her back to the house with the other Wanda and their kids. And, she's looking at him like, oh, my boys. Because she's like, all right, you win. Like, I can't beat you, so I'll take you to what you want.
Yeah, I'll give you what you want.
And then you just sees how, like, those boys fear that version of Wanda because she starts beating the shit out of the mom.
Throwing her away.
These are my boys.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, please don't hurt us. And then she kind of understands oh shit.
Because they were like throwing toys and shit at her,
Yeah, trying to do anything they could to get rid of her.
And she's like, boys, please stop, whatever, And she loses her cool, and it's like, stop it! And that's when they're like, oh shit, and they hide from her, and that's when she realizes, like, maybe I'm a monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is a really sweet moment there where that version of Wanda gets up, and the kids are like, Mom, please, and she's like, no, that's all right. Because the Scarlet Witch, our Wanda, is just crying because she's realized, like, that even if she was technically able to do it, why would they want her? Because she's a monster, right?
Right. Yeah.
And their Wanda walks over and kind of touches her face to comfort her and tells her, just know that they'll be loved. Mm-hmm. And it's like she needed to hear that, and she's like, okay, that's okay, if she was truly a mother, right, that would be enough, right, to know that they're taken care of and they're loved.
Yep.
And so she kind of just accepts it, and what do you call her? America closes the... Wanda decides that she's a fucked up person, and she's got a lot of regrets, and she's going to collapse the temple so that nobody else can use it. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so she does. She collapses the temple down on herself and Defender's corpse, and... you see, like, a red flash, so I think she's not gone.
Yeah, she probably used some magic to...
The vague implication is that she's maybe dead, right? Mm-hmm. And so Strange has this nice conversation with that version of Palmer back in the Incursion, where he's like, he's honest with her, like, it's not that I didn't care about you, but I'm always afraid of that commitment, and I'm sorry, And scared. He tells her, I love you, and I love you in every universe, Yeah, and, like, that's the through line, is that every universe they've been to is that he loves Palmer, and it's not reciprocated, right? Mm-hmm. And he kind of has a moment of acceptance where, you know what, I'm not going to be with you, probably my fault, but I just have to accept that and move on, right?
Right.
And so you do see him fix, like, the broken watch, mm-hmm. and kind of move on. And you're like, yep, it's all wrapping up. And as he's walking away down the street... he starts mad freaking out and collapses to his knees, and his fucking third eye opens on his forehead. And then the movie just kind of cuts, and you're like, whoa.
Whoa. But then in that first cutscene, yeah, we see Dormammu's, you said daughter?
Yeah, Clea is the daughter of Dormammu, and she's the sorceress supreme of the Dark Dimension. And she just fucking cuts a hole in reality, and is like, Stephen Strange, you motherfucker, you caused an incursion, and you're going to fucking help me fix it. And he's like, whoa, okay, relax, She's like, "Are you afraid? You know, what's the matter? Are you afraid?" And he opens his third eye, and he's basically like, "Nah, I've got nothing here." You know?
Yeah. No, I'm so clean.
I'm so fucking solid. And so the portal that she cuts open looks like it's to the dark dimension, and so they step through it, and you're like, "All right, word. That's wherever that's headed, right? That's the next move."
Right.
Right now, Strange is going to the dark dimension to fix an incursion that she caused, which makes you wonder which universe had the incursion. Obviously, it would have to be maybe the Earth 838.
818 or 838, yeah. Which that's what I would assume to believe. Yeah, that's what I would believe.
And so maybe if they go back and they fix it, we get some of those people that were on the Illuminati to come over to 616. But my final thoughts overall, I said, felt very much like it's the middle of a bigger story. It didn't really move Strange himself forward a whole lot. Like his main character arc over this, what should be a pretty big movie, was just like, yeah, I guess I'll never be with Palmer, right?
Right.
But it was very connected, I felt, to the films that come before it.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Like, none of this happens if he doesn't give up the Time Stone, right? Because if he didn't give up the Time Stone, Vision wouldn't have gone through what he did. But I did leave me feeling a little bit unsatisfied, but it also contains some of my favorite Marvel scenes from recent memory. So I think that's why I end on like a somewhere between overwhelmed and simply, but I'll give it a nudge into
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall it was I'd say it's gas. You know, it's good stuff. But no, I definitely reciprocate on feeling a little like, okay, well, what now? Like, how are we moving forward from this? Like, are we picking up with Strange in the dark dimension? But I feel like, what is that going to lead to? And how does that connect everything else?
Yeah, we kind of talked on the way home yesterday that right now I don't think the MCU has a very clear to the viewer, right? Doesn't seem to have a clear forward trajectory. Obviously, they have a plan, but they haven't clued us in on it yet, and I feel like they need to start cluing us in soon because a lot of things are going to start coming out, and if they don't tell us where it's headed, it's going to feel like, are these connected? You know what I mean? What's the forward momentum here? They need to give us a little bit more.
I got a hard feeling that Thor: Love and Thunder's, for whatever reason, is going to be a big connection to things.
Yeah, maybe because it'll kind of give us the...
I was going to say, I think it's because of Gore the God Butcher. For whatever reason, I got a feeling he's about to make a huge impact on the MCU.
Maybe, baby.
Yeah, but what are you going to do?
You know, I'm going to ask you what you're thinking about. That's what I'm going to do. What are you thinking about?
Well, I don't think I'm ever going to get a soundtrack to this thing, but welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. This week, actually, I've been obsessing over the fact of finding cryptids that could be real.
Okay.
Like that, aren't like a Sasquatch, or like a Bigfoot, something that has a little more evidence backing it up. Not that they're not real, because, I mean, there definitely could be, but...
Right.
The one I got for us is called Mahamba. Mahamba is a cryptid rumored to lurk in the Democratic Republic of the Congos.
Okay.
It is in a lake called Lake, Likula.
Okay.
And it's around a swamp region.
Okay.
And this cryptid here, the description is, it is pictured to be an enormous crocodile reaching the lengths up to 50 feet. Some have speculated that it is a freshwater relic of a huge sea-dwelling lizard that they were presumed to be extinct just before the Jurassic period.
Okay.
The Babangi Aboriginals have proclaimed this animal to be unlike any other they have ever seen, and only compared it to other creatures such as Nicoli, which is the Babangi word for crocodile.
Right.
For the sake of the comparison, it has also been reported to attack and devour rafts and canoes.
Fuck.
So I mean, something like this, I definitely could picture like, oh yeah, like I could see that easy, hands down.
Yeah, I mean,
look at humongous croc.
Like saltwater crocodiles
are huge,
very big.
They get humongous.
Largest saltwater crocodile. How big is this boy?
Yeah, how big is he?
Fuck. So, well, there's a big gap here, but still, that's fucking big. The largest saltwater crocodile on record was a large male in the Philippines they named Lolong. Oh, so it's the largest one ever caught and placed in captivity. He was 20 foot 3 inch long and weighed 2,370 pounds.
Jesus.
So then imagine how much a 50-footer weigh.
Yeah, I mean you're more than doubling that.
Yeah, you're looking at a fucking 6,000 pound animal. But I mean, so if a saltwater croc can get 20 foot, I mean, maybe something that could get,
yeah,
or it could be an overestimation.
I don't know, man. I kind of believe this one. Like I can really sit back and be like,
it's wrong. I'm just
no,
saying.
I'm not. You are either. I'm just saying.
Busted out the tape measure and went, it's a solid 50-footer.
Yeah.
So like, it could be a big ass fucking croc that
those things are
nobody's sticking around to measure.
Those things are prehistoric.
Yeah,
those things
I mean, they
look like dinosaurs. Yeah,
they just got smaller. Like that was their adaptation to the world changing. I guess I got to get smaller because all the big food died.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just something that like I feel like we kind of glaze over of modern animals, and then you just see
crocodiles.
Yeah, like dude, they look prehistoric. Like
because they are like that's what they come from.
But shit's bananas. But so yeah, I plan on putting more stuff like this. But if you guys have any suggestions, definitely let me know because I'm open to them. But Colin, what were you thinking about?
Honestly, like you'll know because I've probably beat it to death. I've been thinking a lot about Bo Burnham's Inside the last week.
God, yes, you have. Like you won't fucking shut up about it.
Like honestly, like it's not like I just discovered it, but for some reason it's come back. Well, not for some reason. One of the other things I've been thinking about this week is a podcast I found on Spotify called Dissect. Mm-hmm. And what it is it's a long. No, it's just I think it's a podcast worth checking out. Honestly, it's been interesting. They break down like over a long period of several episodes an album by an artist and kind of analyze it, and they dive into like sorry I'm fighting a fucking burp that won't come up here.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm so good. But no, they break down and analyze interviews that they've done in the past to kind of inform what they think this song might be about or what they're trying to convey and things like that. And the most recent series that they've started is about Inside, which I love Bo Burnham in general, and I was super excited for Inside, and when it did come out, I was like, holy shit, this changed my life. Like I'm watching art, like, oh my God. And so yeah, I've been listening to that. I think there's 2 episodes out. There might be 3 by the time this goes out. But it's been really interesting, and the next one I want to listen to when they finish Inside is they did one on Damn from Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Which Kendrick Lamar is a pretty lyrically dense rapper. So I think there's a lot to kind of unpack with those songs. Mm-hmm. And he's definitely an artist who typically has something to say. So I think that'd be interesting to listen to. And then just the other thing I wrote down here is that we've modded Minecraft.
Yes, dude. And it's been nothing but amazing.
Yeah, like if we wrap this up quick enough, we could probably get a couple hours in.
I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you can be a big dog. You'll be fine.
Just like my sleep.
Yeah, don't worry. If you get less than 8 hours, you're not going to cut down.
All right.
So, you got anything else you've been thinking about?
Really, that's kind of been it. Just mainly with looking more about cryptids. Honestly, just what it's hard to really think about something when I stayed off social media for a good chunk of change. So literally, I just go to work, try to think about work, and then go home, and then not try to get on any form of social media. So I have feeling like a husk of a human being lately because I'm just like I don't know what's going on anywhere.
Well, we do have something from the mailbag if you want to dig into.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So subject line: Hi guys. Long-time listener, first-time writer. Seems like zombies have fallen out of fashion lately. They were done to death. Ha ha. And now there isn't much out there about them. What's your next favorite monster that's up and coming? Jay and West Jeff. And I'd like to point out, they didn't have anything negative to say about you here.
Yes.
Like there was no slight against you, nothing. It only took 10 weeks.
The time is now. The future is now, old man.
Like people are coming around on you maybe. Or they just got tired of beating on you and stopped being fun. It was like, man, this is getting kind of old. Like, it's just not fun anymore.
I just don't exist to them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, like, fuck. You're so devoid of entertainment for them that it's not even entertaining to bash on you. Like, Jesus.
I hope
I don't think that's the case. I think they like you. They really like me.
Yeah.
But no, I think aliens are like body snatchers. Like the idea of the other, right?
Right.
because I've always thought that a lot of your like the horror stuff that gets popular is typically a reflection of like what's going on in the world at the time.
Yeah.
Or like when zombies got real big, it was during like communism versus capitalism, and so maybe it's an idea of the mindless flocking to either ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously as things have gotten more and more different things going on in the past, we've had like slasher movies where you're just afraid of like your neighbor. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't feel safe from strangers, right? And then you've got the supernatural. It's the thing that you can't see that's scary, which might be a comparison to like disease.
Yeah. The unknown.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think right now, body snatchers and aliens, things like that, is a good indication of like, maybe from a political standpoint or like a socioeconomical thing of like, I don't trust the other right now. People that look like me but aren't like me, right? Share a different opinion or whatever. So I think something like Nope, where might be about an alien visitor. We don't really know, but that's what it looks like, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Is something I'm excited for. But then also sticking with Jordan Peele, Us was about doppelgangers.
Mm-hmm.
That they look just like us, but they're not us, right?
Right.
But I do. I think that interests me right now.
I think for me, what really interests me is I'd probably have to say like bodies, like People Snatcher.
Yeah.
Or just
I was like, no way, like.
No, but just because it's very realistic.
Yeah.
As well as I have a crippling fear of death.
Yeah.
So I mean, anything where it doesn't even necessarily have to be scary, but if death plays a big toll in it, that gives me the heebie-jeebies because it's just like, or if they ever like. Yeah, the expression of life is just a light switch. You're alive 1 second, next you're not. Just the thought of that scares the piss out of me. So something along the lines of that, where it's a little more real. I don't get too scared of zombies. I've seen good scary zombie movies. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe Aliens would be a little more scary as well, just because the universe is always expanding. I'm a big believer in Aliens. Right. So just the thought of if they are able to get to Earth, they're so
much more advanced than us.
Yeah, that they could do whatever they want, and there's not a thing we could do.
Yeah.
So that's the thought of that is scary. But yeah, I'm not like there's a ghost in my closet, but I don't know. Shit, like if I think about it, shit gets a little spooky.
You let it get to you.
It's the Baba Yaga.
But no, I like that question. It makes you think about, because we're not like big horror heads, so it is something to think about. Of like, oh, what kind of scary do I like, or what kind of monster do I like? That is an interesting question. Maybe we need to like look at a little bit more horror movies that are coming out.
Yeah, and we can definitely do like a deeper dive of like some scary games like Labyrinthine.
Yeah,
I'm just getting behind that horror.
Yeah, that's our probably our biggest pathway into horror is video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we, whenever, even if it's like a single player game, you and I will play it together. And we'll kind of we'll come to a discussion about decisions we make.
Yeah, like you sitting over my shoulder and scaring the piss out of me. But no, I like that question. Yeah, it does. It makes me think about, pick up on that.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to wrap it up. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's been a long ass episode.
It's been a long one, but there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there really was.
So yeah, like I've got the timer on. We're coming up on the 2 hour mark. So hopefully after I edit it down, it gets us like an hour 45.
Yeah.
So let's say, we want to thank you guys. We always do, for your attention and support. If you guys enjoyed this episode, give it a great review on iTunes. It helps us out a lot. I'm not sure how, but it does. And tell your friends about it. The more that people listen, more input we can get, and the better it becomes. Hopefully, right?
Make sure you smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Bell notification.
Spread the word. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Get the follower count up. Make us relevant.
Thank you, Simply Well Nation.
Simply Nation. Simp Nation. What's up? That'll be our followers. They'll just be simps.
Yes.
I like it. So if people wanted to reach out to us, how would they do that?
Of course, we have our Gmail, which is the simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at simplywhelmedpodcast. And then our Twitter handle is whelmed_simply, and then Facebook, Simply Whelmed Podcast.
And like I said earlier, I think the next thing you hear from us will just be just a raw, pretty much uncut discussion on Moon Knight later this week, like an episode 10.5, or call it a simply whelmed mini or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably, like I said, end of the weekend, probably Friday or Saturday, just depending on when we get to record it and edit it.
Hell, I could just talk about cryptids for 45 minutes straight.
We ain't got to do all that.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, that's right. Listen to the voice. So that's it. That's all we got. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you later this weekend, and then the next solid episode will be next Wednesday.
Yeah, so you're getting some extra loving from us.
That's right. Yeah, you get a little more of us. So that's the end of the show, Chris. Tell them bye.
This is Private Chris telling you to keep your socks dry.
What a fucking mess. I'm just...
Whoa.
Just leave it in. Oh no, we're still recording.